July was a slow but good reading month, so let's talk about the books I read in July. I read some really great books this month, so let's just get started with my only physical book of the month, and that was Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. Ciccarelli, if I pronounced your last name wrong, I am so sorry, but I loved this book. It was the perfect ending to Gideon and Rune's story, and that's all I'm going to say. I also listened to an audiobook called Careless People by Sarah Wynn-Williams. She was a former Facebook employee, and this is about her time at Facebook and all the craziness that goes on there. And this is before Facebook became Meta and all that. I was simultaneously upset, furious, horrified. I mean, throw an adjective in there and a verb, whatever, and I was it. This book made me want to just throw away all the Meta apps and never use them again. Unfortunately, they are way too ingrained in our society. That's all I have to say about that. I think everyone should go listen to it. I didn't give it a star rating because it's a memoir and I have no place rating somebody's story. So that was Careless People. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Girlfriend Agreement by Rowan Croft. I was sent an ARC of this and to review, and I'm not going to talk too much about it because I do have a separate post about this somewhere down there on the feed and on the blog. I wasn't actually sure about whether I was going to like this. I did like the premise when I first read the little blurb signing up to get this ARC, and it's a college romance, enemies to lovers. Just the enemies to lovers is the part that got me, but I wasn't sure about college romance because I am very far removed from college, and turns out I was pleasantly surprised. I loved this book. I loved the banter. I loved the characters, especially the side characters. And yeah, if you are a fan of late 90s, early 2000s movies, if you like She's All That and all those kinds of movies, you'll like this book. And then finally, my most anticipated read of the year, and it did not disappoint, was, I'm just going to hold up my Kindle because that's where I read it, was Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I absolutely adored this book. I still do not have the words. I don't know how to put into words how I feel about this book, and it's been at least a month by the time I post this since I read it. It is just so good. And people are worried about the space and the sciencey part of it. Don't worry too much about it. It's not that heavy, but this book is definitely for the space nerds, the romance people who love reading romances. I cried. Guys, I don't know what is happening to me, but this year I've cried at least 5 times reading a book. Not one book, but 5 separate books. I have teared up or I have started bawling my eyes out, and this is one of them, and I loved it, and I recommend everybody go read it. And yes, so that was my July reading wrap up. I loved every book I read this month, which is kind of a rarity, and I'd love to know what your favorite book of the month was, and I will talk to you guys later.